Cars now on the track. We've had a slight delay and there was an oil, a patch of oil down at the exit of our final corner, Hog Pen, and that just slowed us down for a couple of minutes, but so therefore you've missed nothing. We're on board with Tommy Dreesy, the Hollywood star, as I call him, because he does work in Hollywood, but he's one of our stars for sure. He's second in the championship with the Lucas Slick Mist car, and we'll be on board with him through a lot of this race. I'm delighted to say that man who has literally commanded this circuit in the past, and that of course is Boris Said, is also out there. He's qualified well again, just missing out yesterday, but right there in full fettle, and we're expecting Boris, who won this race last year, to be a favourite again. We're on board also with Ken Thwaites, the Audi LMS, who has had 3 wins for the Franklin Road team already this season and is leading XGT. And so as we head through what is called NASCAR and left hook, this the warm-up lap effectively, everybody just dialing themselves in. The reason we had the delay is we go on board with the number 20 of Chris Dyson, who won, of course, last time out at Road America. And the reason we had that delay was because of a bit of an oil spill.
Yeah, we had an oil spill at Hog Pen in one of the vintage groups. But look for this section right here between 5 and 10. It's a really tricky section. Up the S's, they hit the crest of a hill at about 7 or 8, and the cars get really light. But if anybody goes into the grass here, they're going to really go off really fast.
And we'll have all these views, fantastic views here from above. You can see the resort hotel in the background there. And this really is one of the true first ever motorsport resorts, if you will. You can buy a house here, you can rent a lodge, you can stay at the hotel. There's skeet shooting as well as drive schools and ride schools. And so it really is a playground for the guys who want to play with big toys, quite literally. Girls and guys playing with big toys. So we've got 4 different categories in here. Let's just explain that for those coming to our app and to our coverage for the first time. TA is the big boys, and they are effectively unlimited in their horsepower. And the TA class effectively is all grunt and more than you need, especially at a circuit like this, which makes it very challenging indeed, because you just cannot be flat out around this circuit. It's a fast circuit, mind you, but it's just not a place where you can let your eye off the ball, because there's some really tight corners. You're going from fast to slow, roller coaster and hog pen that will come up to very, very tough corners indeed. And then we've also got the XGT class. I mentioned Ken Thwaites, we saw him. Then we've got SGT and GT, and I'll refer to my expert Ben to explain a little bit about the difference between those.
Well, the GT classes are a lot. Well, actually, Jonathan, lights are out. They're coming in right here to take the green flag. So I'm gonna pass it back to you, if you don't mind, so we can watch the start of this wonderful race.
Boris Said in the all-yellow Poncho Weaver prepared car is alongside our championship leader, Ernie Francis Jr. And quite rightly, the Maserati has pulled in. It's going to be a drag race down towards Horseshoe. Good start from Chris Dyson. Boris Said's got the inside line as we look from high above as they head down to Horseshoe for the first time. Green flag waves. Boris Said has got the start, but has he? He's got the right angle because he's going into the right-hander, and he does get ahead of Ernie Francis Jr. And then the plaid number 20 of Chris Dyson slots into 3rd place, and Simon Gregg is 4th. So a really enthralling start there, everybody cleanly through, and they roar behind us through NASCAR and through left hook. Already Ernie Francis Jr. trying to make a way past Boris Said, and it's great to see one of the greats, Boris Said, keeps coming out of retirement to win this race, and many others when Poncho will prepare a car for him. In the distance you can see the second pack, if you will, of the XGT, SGT and GT cars ready to go, so they just give them a little bit of leeway. But now as we head down through the S's, through Snake, and up towards Oak Tree for the first time, we're on board with Tommy Dreesy, who's got some work to do, down in 4th place at the moment.
Look at that, Chris Dyson got around Ernie Francis Jr. somehow in the S's as they come around Oak Tree. This is a really important turn because they got to get hard on the gas here. use their momentum through here because this is the longest straightaway of the track, and these 850 horsepower cars can really stretch out here.
Yeah, this is the long straight, and Chris Dyson, as you quite rightly point out, did a great job of getting past Ernie Francis Jr. No mean feat, and now he's going in pursuit of Boris Said. Now, these two have battled each other many, many a time before as we head down the roller coaster.
We just saw a lot of sparks come out of Boris's car. I just want to point out, Pancho Weaver finished this car not even a week ago. You just don't do that in racing. But he finished the car, and now Boris is out here racing that car as fast as he can. It's unbelievable that it's doing what it's doing.
And the top three, as they cross the line again, are pulling away from the number 59 of Simon Gregg. And a really good start, a really good clean start too. Really
Double
impressed.
yellow.
Double yellow is
I saw
out.
the pace
That'll
car.
change everything. We've got the pace car back out.
But the pace car didn't beat the leaders out. I saw a double yellow there at Hogpen, but the pace car didn't come out, so I wonder what we're going to have to do here.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the local yellows now, but as you can see, the pace has slowed down dramatically. But it is Boris Said who leads. This man, Chris Dyson, in second place as we go on board live with him. He'll be checking the temperatures on his dials, checking the tyre temperatures, making sure that everything is working properly.
So we had a turn 6 one-car incident. That's what I was saying. Somewhere between turn 5 and turn 10, if anybody gets a wheel off, it's so slick and so treacherous through there. So it's drivers left, full course caution. The safety car has been dispatched, but the safety car did not get out ahead of our leader, Boris Said.
Yeah, well, they can sort that out fairly quickly. This is good news, though.
Was that Kerry Hitt? We saw the drone shot. It looked like it might have been Kerry Hitt's car that went off. Drivers left. There's the safety car.
Well, this is good news for Tommy Dreese because Tommy did not get the start he wanted. He's down the pack a little bit, about in 5th place at the moment. There's your leader, Boris Said, in the all yellow and blue. What a beautiful sight that is. The Dodge Challenger, Weaver Racing Technics SRI Pearl Dodge Challenger. And as you say, prepared to perfection. Now the safety car, as you say, has picked up this sort of...
Okay, so it wasn't Kerry Hitt because there's Kerry Hitt. Trying to figure out what car that was that went off. It might have been Masood. It was a white, looked like a TA car. No, there's Masood there.
So yeah, Masood's still
Oh, it's Hinkle, Jeff Hinkle. Oh,
okay.
No, that stinks. Jeff Hinkle off, and it looks like he couldn't get it restarted either. Jeff Hinkle is really neat. Actually, I think he ran for mayor of Destin, Florida.
I love some of the trivia you come up with.
You got to love guys like that. You know, trying to get into politics. How cool is that? Destin, Florida is everybody's favorite destination. But, you know, I want to talk about, while we're here with the safety car sorting this out, our favorite Boris Said story. And everybody has great Boris Said stories because he's just so animated. But we did the e-racing series during COVID, and we were racing at Laguna Seca, and we noticed that Boris Said's car was doing some erratic things, so I thought, I'm just going to call him and see what's going on. So we called Boris and said, hey, where are you? What are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm at my shop. And we're like, well, you're racing in this e-racing. And he said, no, that's my son. And when we're like, well,
who, by the way, looks identical.
Yeah. And we said, well, you can't do that. And he goes, no, if you read the rules, the name has to match the driver. And my son, Boris Said the fourth, is driving my car. So it's funny, Boris Said made a career out of being the road course ringer, and now he has an e-racing ringer in his son.
Well, they say motor racing is all about taking the advantage where you can find it, looking at the rule book and interpreting it. And that's what Boris did. So power to him, I say. Now you're getting to start to see the horseshoe and NASCAR and left hook, some of the famous corners here at VIR. And it's great to see them from above because you get a real indication how hard this circuit is. For example, this is turn 5 that we're coming through now, past the resort, and watch the next few corners up here, which is where the damaged car is, and you can see they've got several trucks there trying to get it out of the way, but it starts to weave around through what's called Snake, and but it's still quite fast and flowing as you go under the bridge here and start to build uphill. A real challenge for these guys.
So that's Brad Roberts right there, Ken Twait's mechanic, looking at the data geek, the data acquisition geek right there. Ken Twaits is in the currently the leader in XGT, and that Audi R8 gives him a ton of data. And he went off yesterday, so I'm sure they're looking at everything they can to make sure the car is right, because second in points is Eric Joyner, who didn't qualify yesterday, who had to start in the back of the pack, but he will be he'll be searching out Ken throughout the weekend.
And while we've got a little bit of time, quickly go over, because we didn't get a chance because it went straight to green, but just tell us a little bit about the TA versus the XGT, SGT, because it will confuse a few.
So the TA class is just, as Chris Dyson says, basically an 850 horsepower go-kart, because no driver aid, no driver assist, no traction control. And then you go down into and those are fully prepared race car tube frames, but it's kind of an unlimited class. Then the XGT class, as I understand it, is like a GT3, a lot of factory, like the Audi R8, the Porsches.
Yes.
They actually made a purpose-built race car, like kind of no-holds-barred race car, like no expenses spared, to beat all the teams in different series. And then the SGT, Super GT, is more of like a GT4 platform, and that's a little bit more of somebody that can buy a car or race prepare it, or it could be a factory, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistle of Extreme GT. And then the GT class is probably one of my favorites in the fact that it's cars that somebody might have bought right off the showroom floor and turned into a race car, like a lot of Mustangs, Corvettes, Camaros. There's an Aston Martin out there and Stephen Davison, so it's a really fun class to watch. But in a track like this with these conditions, it can really get treacherous because there's a huge speed differential as they come into pit lane to sort this out.
Now, the reason they're coming into pit lane is we've had a full course black flag, which means that the cars, as you can see, will approach the pit lane and come into the pits because they've got to repair where the incident happened at turn 6, so we are in an all-course, shown by the starter, black flag situation.
Yeah, and what's happening right now, and we see this a lot, is a wall repair. And a lot of times, somebody has to make the call, and I agree with this. A lot of people, as we said in the kind of what the pre-show, that a lot of people are expected to go off there because it is a really tough part. And so they're doing wall repair to make sure it's safe in the event that somebody else goes there and contacts the wall. It's actually right where Ken Thwaites hit the wall yesterday.
And as we can see, Tommy Dreesy now parked up, as is the rest of the field, right in front of us, in fact. We're in the building just to the right of that shot you're looking at now. Tony, our cameraman in the pits, doing a fantastic job giving us an up-close view of how the drivers are dealing with it as we look at the Cadillac. It doesn't look much like a Cadillac, does it?
It doesn't. Kerry Hitt, he does such a good job. He actually designs and builds these bodies, and a lot of the Trans Am drivers are using them. And so that's the Cadillac, Amy Ruman, and the Corvette. But look for something here at VIR when he's panning. Look at their front radiators, because if anybody goes off, basically that front splitter becomes like a blade and a lawnmower, and it cuts the grass into the front radiator. And a lot of times we've seen it here a lot, like we're looking
Tony's
at John
listening.
Bockham. Yeah, we look at John Bockham. He's got a little bit of grass there, but if they go through the grass, that will get clogged up in grass, and then the car will start to overheat. So a lot of times you'll see cars come in, and their crew will have to brush them off.
Well, did you notice last year at Mid-Ohio we had several cars overheating because of that same problem? A lot of grass at Mid-Ohio going into the radiators. In fact, a lot of guys having to come in, not expected to do a pit stop, but coming in just to clear the grass up and clear the grass out of the radiators to cool down the engines a little bit.
Yeah, so if this is the running order, you can see there the last TA car is that bright orange Corvette, beautiful car.
Yep.
Then we're calling Ken Thwaites' car because he parted his white car. It looks like a cop car. You see that?
Yes, it
That's
does a
the
bit.
first in the GT class. So he got ahead of Lee Saunders and Mark Brummond. And then you've got Adrian Lostowski, who is currently in second place in the points behind Lee Saunders. So he's really trying to get up there in the GT classes. And then way back there to the left, the white Porsche with the black stripe is Eric Joyner, second in points in XGT. He had to start in the back of the grid because he didn't qualify. So look for him to move his way up through this difficult GT class.
We are talking to you from the building you're looking down on right now. In fact, we're at the top of that building in that little crow's nest right there. So we've got the bird's eye view of exactly what's going on here. Me and Ben Sissel. He's going to wave to the drivers, why not? But we thank you for joining us on our app and around the world. This is Trans Am TA Racing. This is the first race of the weekend, TA, XGT, SGT and GT Racing. And we are looking forward to the resumption of this, which we believe will be in just under 5 minutes. And the reason we are under a black flag situation was Hinkle went off and effectively took some of the wall with him, and therefore in CCA rules, they need to repair that wall before it is safe to go racing again.
Yeah, especially in such a high-impact area. That's somewhat of a new tower here at VIR, just in the last 4 or 5 years. Beautiful tower. Connie, the owner here, at the president of VIR, really does a great job. They always are constantly making improvements. But look at that shot right there. That could be a painting.
Yeah, exactly.
This track is so pretty. And as a camera person, I love this track because you can just kind of point the camera anywhere, and it's always a good shot. They do such a great job with the preparation of this track. And I love that tower, how it comes out over the track so that the drivers can see any of the flags. That's where we're going to get the start and the checkered flag this weekend.
Yeah, it's very fast, this front straight down the run towards the horseshoe with a rolling start especially. We're on board now with Chris Dyson, and let's just take a look at what you can see there. The best lap, 155. The last lap, 238. Then you'll see the gears. Obviously, he's in first gear at the moment. And then you should get an idea of the acceleration and braking, and that'll be just denoted by either the accelerator going green or the brake going red. And also, to your right-hand side, well, we've got his sponsors there. Pirelli, of course, the Trans Am title sponsor, and Plaid, which is his sponsor from Atlanta. They make do-it-yourself products, but are probably most famous for their paint that they make. So they are one of the big industrial makers of paint, and they've been a long-time sponsor of Chris Dyson. And talking of Dyson, the name is synonymous with American racing. We will be bemoaning the fact that Lime Rock is not going to be able to be raced because that's his home track. But Virginia will do.
Yeah.
We'll make a double header out of Atlanta. So we've still got racing from Road Atlanta, from the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, and Laguna Seca in December. So long way to go yet, but we're getting down to the nitty-gritty in terms of, well, at the beginning of the season, we didn't know if we were going to get a season in, but I think now we've got a long way in as we look at Lee Saunders.
Yeah, and I can't think of a worse situation right now for drivers. We were looking in at these in-cars to have to start a race like this. They, the heat on high, adrenaline is pumping, and then have to come in at a complete stop like this. And their crew is not allowed by rules to come over and do anything to the car or fix the car by any means. The officials have walked up and down the lane to make sure everything looks good and safe. But just sitting there, you haven't gotten into a rhythm yet. It usually takes these drivers about 5, 6, 10 laps to get into a rhythm. And, it's crazy to say this, these are 100-mile sprint races.
Yeah,
these aren't endurance races where the drivers kind of take it easy a little bit. These Pirelli tires can go 100% of the time, and the drivers do not come in to refuel. So it is a 100-mile sprint race if you can wrap your head around that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting restart. Obviously, Boris said did everything right at the start, got the lead, and we're starting, in fact, the top three were starting to pull away. The only story that really happened was Chris Dyson got into second place ahead of Ernie Francis Jr., and he sits there now. And the restart, though, will be very important, and we're expecting that in the next 2 minutes or so. And I think we'll have a rolling start again. And I'm looking to see what Tommy Dreese in, fifth place can do. Can he get past the number 59 early on of Simon Gregg from Ponte Verde, Florida, and get with the leaders? Because he is second in the championship and doesn't want to lose ground this early in the weekend. I was asking some of the drivers, what's the key to a weekend like this? And they said, be careful in race one.
Yeah.
And the meaning being that if you damage your car, we've already had Gigliotti of Texas go off in a big smash in testing. Luckily, they've got him going again, but he'll have to start at the back because he wasn't able to qualify. But it really is lasting the weekend, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got a race tomorrow in another big group. So you think this is a big group of cars. Now add 22 TA2 cars to this mix. But I just want to point out, if this is your first time watching Trans Am, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. We want to make sure that when we do this restart that you know it is a single file restart. The leader sets the pace in that. And if you are watching on the Trans Am app or any of our Facebook or social media channels, tell us where you're watching from and what you want to see more of, because we love keeping in contact with all the comments and the fans. This is a fan series. And if you, I'm sure if you have any kind of pulse at all, you're going to find something in this series that you love, because look at this field of cars.
Well, you can't help but have your pulse racing as soon as these engines fire up. And the reason, and just as I say that, on cue. And they are firing up, and we are about to go racing again. We have had a black flag situation with a car going off at turn 6. Jeff Hinkle was the man who went off in his Dodge Challenger, but we are going again, and we are ready to go racing again, and we are being led by the veteran hero that is Boris Said. I said hero because he's raced in Indy, he's raced in NASCAR, he's raced in, well, just about everything. IMSA, you name
Challenge,
it. Le Mans.
GT3, yeah, he's done everything. Actually, the coolest thing is Dale Earnhardt Sr. hired him to kind of teach the Earnhardt, father and son, how to road race.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. When Dale Earnhardt is saying, hey, can you teach me how to road race a little bit better? You know that you're a good road racer.
I know one man chomping at the bit to get going is Chris Dyson as we go on board with Ken Thwaites, because Dyson was supposed to race at Le Mans and wasn't able to go because his entry got pulled because so many Americans didn't make it through and go through to... And I'm delighted to say, joining us here in the booth, Poncho Weaver, while we've got your chance, because it's going to get furious in a moment, i.e. fast and furious, but while we've got a bit of a delay, your man's leading the race, you've prepared another beautiful car, but you've got a busy weekend. Tell us what's going on.
Oh, it's going to be a great weekend. We're looking forward to this race with this new build. We just finished it about 2 weeks ago, and it's performed just unbelievably. Our expectations are overwhelmed.
So can I ask an amateur question here? They always say, is the car going to be ready? Is Poncho going to show up? Why don't you have a car waiting for Boris? Because he's obviously going to race it if you prepare it.
Oh yes, it's well, we're a small shop, and these builds take a while, of course. And I enjoy the build part. You know,
okay.
I mean, it's a pride thing, and really enjoy the construction of the vehicle and the build. But also, of course, we really enjoy racing it. And being up front, and Boris, of course, is a great talent.
Well, give us an idea on what it's like to work with Boris Said.
Oh, he's the best. I mean, he really is the best. He's easy on the car. He really uses his head, and he saves the equipment, which is real important to us, of course. And then we'd like to really recognize Paul Menard. He'll be driving tomorrow in this car.
Now, why is that? Is Boris racing somewhere else, or?
No, he's just sharing a little bit of time with Paul, and we're trying
Paul
to.
will have to start at the back then if he hasn't qualified the car, right?
Yes, I believe that's how they're talking about doing that.
Because it's fast. The grid for tomorrow will be the fastest lap.
Yes.
Today.
Which is not fair for the rest of the competitors to use Boris's time today for Paul's start. But we were trying to do get Paul a qualifying time. We practiced yesterday, but of course it was raining on it at that time, so the times were slow. But we're really excited about it.
For the geeks out there, I know I have to ask you this. What is special about this Dodge Challenger? You literally hand make it. What do you particularly like about this one?
Well, really, there's everything is different about this car, and that's why we're here, right? and I'd like to just add to the way this series runs this program. It's a total innovative, welcoming kind of a series, which most series, as the racers know out there, are cookie cutter type. Buy your chassis and your engines and everything's the same, and it's just the driver or the strategy. Well, this is a great class for innovation, and I hope they never change that format. Off-road is the world that I came from and grew up in, and then of course the Trans Am series is really, and that's why we're in it, because we can be innovative and try different and new things and technologies.
I was going to say, I took a close look up at pre-grid yesterday, and boy, it is decked out in the latest gizmos. It's got all the electronics on it, on the front and inside it, and it really is a beautifully prepared car. Now, I'm going to pause you there because the safety car, the Maserati, has come off, and Poncho Weaver's car will lead the rest of the field to the restart. And immediately Chris Dyson has got to go away well, and he's going to try and challenge Boris Said right from the get-go as they head down towards the horseshoe for the first time. But Boris Said holds the lead in the Dodge Challenger. Dyson in second place as we go on board with him. This is a fantastic view up to second gear. You can see the dial in front of him. Stays in second down through NASCAR, and he's certainly got Boris in his sights. Meanwhile, the breathless entry of Ernie Francis Jr. is in third place, and as predicted, up to fourth place goes Tommy Dreese. Great start, or restart, from Tommy Dreese, because he's up to fourth and joins the battle now at the front, and of course he's battling for the championship. Good restart though, Poncho.
This is some great racing, isn't it? And the fans got to love this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I think your boy played it just right there, because Chris definitely looked as though he was going to try to make a move up the inside, but Boris had it covered.
I think Dyson has he's being respectful. We've had some issues in the past, and he's a great competitor, and he's being very fair at this point.
Well, a very talented. We talk about Boris being a bit of a hero, but Chris Dyson's been around a long time. Like I mentioned, the fact that he was supposed to be at Le Mans last weekend, didn't get to go, so he's chomping at the bit for a race win himself. One last time out, of course, at Road America. Good battles going on here in XGT and SGT as we file through the field. And like I said, 4 classes in attendance for this first race of the weekend as they go out of Oak Tree and down the back straight at this restart. 53 minutes. The clock on the top of your screen there tells you how long the race has to go, but it's basically an hour-long race, sprint race, 100 miles or an hour of racing. No pit stops, no expected pit stops. It's go hell-bent for leather, and that's exactly what they're doing as they come out of Hog Pen now. Glorious sound.
Man, that Dodge really sounds nice, doesn't it?
Are you happy with the sound of that?
Penske builds our motors, and I'll tell you, Scott Collier and Chris really do an awesome job for us.
So a great restart, and the 3 of them again pulling away, but this time with the 4th man, Tommy Dreesy, right up there in the Chevrolet Camaro, the Lucas Oil Chevrolet Camaro. So we go back on board with Chris Dyson in 2nd place, fighting through left hook, trying to make his way past, and he is in trouble too, because as he fights to try to get ahead, Boris said, in 3rd place, the breathless car of our championship leader, Ernie Francis Jr. is on the case too. Through Snake they go, and back up the hill here at VIR in glorious conditions, on board and live. Poncho Weaver, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. I know you're getting nervous, so we'll let you get back to the pit lane.
I am getting nervous, and I really appreciate all you guys do for us. It's great coverage, so thanks so much.
Not at all. Poncho Weaver looking for back-to-back wins here with his entry, Boris said, in the all bright yellow, and the battle for 1st place is absolutely on, and it's a 4-way battle, Ben. Just what we wanted.
Yeah, and what an honor it is to have Poncho Weaver up here. Such a legend, great builder, and look at this battle for 1st through 4th, unbelievable as we follow along in the Burton Racing, Tommy Dreesy, Lucas Slick in this car as they come to the fastest section of the track.
Yeah, and we're also keeping an eye on Al Masood, who's had some good runs. He had a good run at Brainerd actually last time out, the Englishman. And down through what we call roller coaster, down towards the last corner, and it's a real drop of elevation. It's sometimes deceptive on TV to see the elevation change here at VIR, but it's quite dramatic.
It is, and that's a really tough section there called Hog Pen. And we call this the front straight, but there's actually a kink. You're going to see right here a little bit of a right-hand turn. There's the starting tower. This is a great passing zone, but looks like Boris said still has that power in that beautiful Dodge Challenger. Mustang, Camaro, the big 3 right there fighting for 1st through 4th.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? We've got the Dodge Challenger, we've got the Camaro, and we've got the 2 Mustangs sandwiched in 2nd and 3rd. Dyson looking for a way past. And Dyson, of all people, will know that he's not going to force Boris into a big mistake. He's going to have to make a move, and there's not many places to do that here at VIR, especially with the cars all powered very similarly. And 50 minutes to go as we go back on board with 4th place Tommy Dreesy under the bridge and up the hill through Snake and up towards Oak Tree again. And you can see the acceleration over 140 miles an hour through the fastest section here, then backing down to just under 100 miles an hour as they dip down in towards the right-hander, and then they'll come back down the long straight. Now, if we stay on board with this shot, watch the acceleration out of here. He's in the 1st gear at the moment. He'll be going through to 2nd now, over 100 miles an hour, up to 4th gear. Now, he's already doing 155, 160, 71 he got to at that point. And there's Ken Thwaites leading XGT at the moment in that resplendently prepared number 5 Audi LMS. And of course, this car, this mark, has had so much success with that LMS over the years around the world, not only in the Audi All-Make LMS Championship, but also at Le Mans and various IMSA races. So great to have them in our GT class or our XGT class.
It is, and you can really tell in this in-car how much smoother the Audi is than those GT1 TA cars as we watch Boris said coming down here into turn 1, the biggest, probably the best passing zone of the track.
Well, that's something that we certainly found evident at some of the tracks like Mid-Ohio, is that the difference between XGT is that they are GT cars, so they do have all the modern gizmos, if you will, effectively to aid the car, whereas, as Chris Dyson describes the TA cars, they are just giant go-karts.
Yeah, they don't have those aids, but you know, they've got traction control and ABS brakes in the XGT to the GT class, but this class is just a driver's class. 850 horsepower at the rear wheels.
Yeah.
And it is just crazy, the torture. Look at the twisting and the roughness of these S's, uphill S's to a really tough turn 10 into the left-hander, and then probably, I would say, the second best passing zone right here into what used to be Oak Tree.
And by the way, just calling it an oversized go-kart is not to denigrate it. This is why the drivers come to this series, because they want to challenge themselves. They don't want all the gizmos. I was talking to our TA2 champion, Mark Miller, last year, and he said, you know, he's driving an Imsa at the moment, and he enjoys it, but he loves the thrill of driving Trans Am because he knows that if he wins, it's about him and not the car.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And this is roller coaster here, a really difficult section. And then look at that, Eric Joyner coming through. The back is...
Ooh, somebody's slowing, though.
Oh, no.
That's the number
Bailey.
2.
Oh, that's Bailey in the SGT car, Larry Bailey.
Well, he's kind of crawling
really
around
slowing down at
moment.
Oak Tree. He's going to try if he's. I can't tell if he's not under power as of yet. So he's going out at the end of Oak Tree there. Hopefully he can limp it around, or he can get off in a place where we can keep this race going.
So 24 laps to go. We're on board with Ken Thwaites, who leads in XGT at the moment. Ken's had 3 wins already this season. He's having a bumper year. He won at Mid-Ohio, at Brainerd, and at Road America last time out, and would love to follow that up with another win here in XGT. Not had a lot of competition, to be fair, but hey, it's open to anybody who wants to challenge him, and he'll take you on. Franklin Road. He's actually got 2 Audi R8s, and he's had a few guest drivers along the way, so he hires out a second car identical to this. So,
and
you
it's
fancy
for
your
rent.
chances?
Yeah, if you want to race, talk to Ken Thwaites.
Yeah. Great onboards, though. You really get to see both the outside shot, shows you where they're going, but also you can see the hands and feet moving. And how much physicality is going on. There's a lot of physicality going on in the Viper of Lee Saunders.
There's our points leader.
Yep, he leads in SGT ahead of Lou Gigliotti, who had to completely repair. Those mechanics have been working round the clock overnight to get that car fixed because he had a practice crash on Thursday. And meanwhile...
And look at that, Matthew Budson in that black Corvette.
Yep.
Right there in the mix with John Bauckham and the yellow Mustang ahead of him.
And there's Bailey parked up.
And then there's Simon Gregg ahead of them. So Bailey, I think he's in a pretty safe area there. Hopefully
I
he
think
can
he's
get fired
pulled out
up.
into a safe area that he can keep out of the way. Back to the leaders, though, and there's no change at the front. If anything, I would say that Dreesy's got to really pull some laps out to stay with the leaders as they pass our commentary position again. These top 4 in TA pulling away now, and Dyson struggling now to stay with Boris Said, who's just got himself a car and a half length ahead of the second place man in the number 20 red and white plaid Ford Mustang.
And you're seeing, if this is your first time tuning into Trans Am, you're seeing an oddity. It is really rare to see Ernie Francis Jr. in 3rd place, battling for 3rd place. He's usually up front, and look at this top 4 in TA and close in points. Other than Boris, this is Boris's first race of the year, but these 3 are really close in points, and they are battling like crazy.
Fantastic racing here and fantastic coverage here. Great stuff by Greenlight Television, bringing you the action live from above, from on board and around the track here as we go on board again with Tommy Dreesy in 4th place. But you see through Snake how quickly they are weaving the cars from side to side. There's really not a lot of time to rest or relax.
No, and the cars, they're constantly compressing and releasing right there. You really have to have your shocks done right. And because of the weather in the last couple of days, nobody's really gotten a good test lap in these conditions.
One driver described a lap of VIR as like a full race at Watkins Glen.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yep. Chris Dyson is trying to work it. You can see his head bobbing, weaving from side to side as he goes in pursuit of Boris Said. And right now, it doesn't look, and there isn't many places. I'm trying to think where. You mentioned turn 11 as being one, and obviously the first turn horseshoe is another as we come out of Hogpen again. But right now, Boris said is starting to pull away at the front. In fact, he's starting to pull a lead away from Chris Dyson, and he's got about 2 car lengths ahead now. Officially, the gap is half a second. And then it's 0.7 of a second to Ernie Francis Jr. There's Lee Saunders in the Dodge Viper. The V10 muscle car coming past our commentary position now. Back with Boris as he heads. There you see the gap 0.058 officially. You can see you don't need to read any details to see how close third place is. Tommy Dreesy's caught up well. And I think through the slower section of Horseshoe and NASCAR, Tommy gets tucked in nicely. He tends to lose out on the back straight,
Watch
I
this
think.
right here. Right.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's Masood.
Yeah, Hamid Masood from England going off in the La Vida Tequila Ford
Looks like
Mustang.
he's stopping.
Yep, and that looks as though it's... Well, he's trying to keep it going, but he's got a lot of wheel spin because of the wet tires, and yeah, he's not getting anywhere fast, is he? He's going to have to be a little bit slower in the approach, I think. He's getting somewhere, but he's not getting too far quickly.
Yeah, we cannot illustrate. He's off at turn 1 there, and he's got to go uphill, and a lot of times cars will high center trying to get up there. He needs to keep going around to the left because that's just too steep of a hill with how wet this grass is. That's got to be so frustrating.
It's like a Rubik's Cube of racing. You've got 850 brake horsepower and a puddle to get out of. Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. So now the TA class is up to lap traffic, and this is where it gets a little bit hairy. We just saw Tommy Dreesy passing Stephen Davison, last year's GT champion, but the speed differential is just crazy. So these GT cars, you really hope that they're looking in their mirrors.
Yeah, this is where it becomes a bit like a Le Mans style class or Sebring 12-hour class, because you are going through slower traffic, and how you go through that slower traffic makes a big difference, because right now, Boris said has to choose his timing perfectly. What he'd like to do is pass a back marker and not let Chris Dyson go through at the same time. That is easier said than done. And add a little bit of another Mustang of Ernie Francis Jr. and you'll see what I mean. And Tommy Dreesy losing out in 4th place as they went through past the number 14 Mustang.
And that was lap traffic. He just happened to catch Stephen Davison in that beautiful Aston Martin at the top of the roller coaster and had to wait until they went through that to get past. And Ernie was able to kind of sneak around and make some space.
Delighted Tony Perella just popped his head into commentary just to see how we were getting on, but gave us the high fives. I'm so happy for him because he and John Claggett have worked so hard behind the scenes to get these races on, and it's nip and tuck every weekend, you know, because of COVID and because of the restrictions and because of crowds, and whether we can put the race on and whether we can bring the trucks in, whether we can gather a crowd and get together is really, really, nip and tuck every weekend. So hats off to the organisers and hats off for the drivers because they have been desperate to go racing. E-racing is one thing, there's nothing like the real thing.
Oh, yeah, and they've worked so hard to put together the finishing schedule for 2020. But then Tony was hinting around yesterday about the schedule for 2021. He and John have worked really hard. And I got to tell you, we have a great schedule this year, but I think next year we have an even better schedule, the best schedule in road racing.
Well, as we go on board with Tommy Dreesy, you can see what he can see, which is on the main straight. He's losing touch with the top 3 at the moment, and he'll need a flag or something at the front, maybe some traffic, or as these 3 start to battle ahead of him, there's a little bit of traffic. To give Tommy a chance to catch up with these 3. He's not that far behind, but he needs to do some work.
He's not, but if all these leaders need to do is catch some traffic in the uphill S's, and they'll be step behind. There's Adrian Lostowski right here trying to make a pass into Oak Tree here.
Yeah, I felt for... Oh! What perfect timing to be on board as tie a yellow ribbon around the old Oak Tree because the 28 of Lou Gigliotti is out. And I'm really sorry for him because that car, you can't see it from here, was completely rebuilt overnight. And sadly, he's just spun it, and we were perfect timing to see that as Lostowski goes through.
So he's still under power, Gigliotti, but he's just waiting for the flagman to try to wave him around, make sure it's safe.
Yeah, I feel for Adrian Lostowski, who came so close to qualifying pole. 3 points, of course, for pole position.
Look
and
at
good
this.
to see Masood's got back out again. He got in the pits and he's got back out again.
But this is the battle for XGT. Eric Joyner has caught back up to from that side. It looks like a police car right there. So this is the battle right here between two friends who have a really great rivalry because they're such close friends. They hate to be passed by each other.
Yeah, Ken Thwaites leading then. Eric Joyner just behind him in the number 10. So we've got a good battle going on in XGT. Back with Ken Thwaites, or on board with Ken, I should say, as he weaves his way through Snake. Yeah, that Audi is so planted, and you'd almost think that it would be the perfect car for this circuit. It's effortless, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks so smooth.
You can see from his input with the hands, it's not a struggle at all. I mean, he's under big pressure. When you see the outside shot, you realize, and Joyner only touched! And that is not going to go down well.
No.
Oh, when they've got to avoid
gosh.
the car too.
For the second race in a row, those two cars have touched, and it looks like, I can't tell. It looked like Eric Joyner was going to give Ken. Maybe there was a yellow flag at 10.
Well, I'm just wondering whether Ken can't be happy about that because I think he's slow because he knew that Gigliotti was there.
So surely there was a yellow flag at 10 or 11, and then Eric passed. So I thought Eric was going to give it back. So hopefully, I'm sure race control right now is telling Eric if there was a local yellow there, and I'm sure there was, that he's got to give the position back.
Yeah, that was a very strange sort of altercation between the two of them, especially when they came straight across the parked car, and I'm amazed the stewards have kind of not put out the safety car because he hasn't got it going again, and he's still stuck right in the middle of one of the most important corners on the track.
So Ken's got to keep a calm head here and just let the things fold out as they may.
Yeah, I would be a little miffed, I have to be honest. If somebody took a swipe at my Audi, these aren't cheap cars.
No.
And two, if I lost the lead because I was slowing down for a caution.
Yeah, and Eric was with us at Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago, and there was just a little bit of contact between these two. They race really hard, and they know each other so well that they don't give each other any room.
Well, as you can see, Ken gathers it all together as he heads through left hook, and now opens up the acceleration again. Third gear now. Opening it up to fourth gear now, over 100 miles an hour as he sweeps from left to right. Under the bridge he comes. But unfortunately, the Porsche is also quick and is leading away. Now we've got our top four again in TA. And they've bundled back together again. Good job by Dreesy. He's back on the back tail now of Ernie Francis Jr. And Ernie not really showing any signs yet anyway of trying to pass Chris Dyson. But that is how Ernie races. Ernie's a smart cookie. He'll be just sitting, waiting for his moment. He knows he's in touch with both the leaders there. Doesn't really need to worry about Boris. This is a one-off race for him. Dyson's the competition, and Dyson's in fourth in the championship, and Dreesy is second in the championship. So the one man that Ernie Francis Jr. has got to keep an eye on is the one man behind him, and that's this man, Tommy Dreesy.
Yeah, and keep
is that the Porsche just slowing down?
That was Tim Harrell there. I think he was just giving it to him, knowing that they were in first. But watch the front end of Ernie's front splitter. I think maybe they missed a shock adjustment. I think they're a little bit too soft, and that could possibly hurt his handling. I saw him really dragging that front splitter there. So they come into 11. Dreesy's a little bit wide there, and now it's just you tuck in behind because you're going 170 miles an hour up this hill into this really tough braking zone. The car is really out of balance here. You see they get real light right there, back into compression. They have to be hard on the brakes into this right-hander that's a little bit blind.
Yeah, it really does give you an illustration with the onboards, especially through roller coaster here, how quickly they go downhill and how blind some of the corners are and how important this last corner hog pen. I was watching Boris said yesterday in the wet come out of here, get in the car completely sideways. I'm sure giving a heart attack to Poncho Weaver as they come up on more. So they give Mark Brumman,
there's cars behind you. Mark Brumman, a great racer in SGT. He races in all kinds of series. I wish he would just, he's a little bit short attention span. I wish he would commit to Trans Am because I think he would be in the hunt for the points lead in SGT.
Well, he's had a win already this season.
Yep.
Now, this is the traffic we're talking about. And now, so Boris has got exactly what he wants here, which is a bit of a... And he's in trouble because here comes Ernie Francis Jr. into second place, and he's used the back marker well, and so has Dreesy. Oh, Dyson has got completely duffed up there,
Yep.
and he's going to be miffed, absolutely miffed. He was trying to be polite. He was trying to use the back marker and give himself a little bit of time, and the others aren't quite as polite, and he's lost out twice there, and he is not going to be happy.
Yeah, you know, and if you talk to Chris Dyson and Ernie, their personalities. Chris is such a gentleman. He was doing the gentlemanly thing to do, and his friend Ernie Francis Jr. capitalized completely.
Well, I'm sure Dad's watching at home and will be just as miffed as he is. Former racer himself.
Yeah, Rob is yelling at the TV right now.
But that has opened up this race completely, because now Ernie Francis Jr. could go in pursuit of Boris Said. Now, Ernie wants a victory here. He's 10 points ahead of Tommy Dreese as Dyson recovers. Down the back straight he comes, over 182, 5 miles an hour there. That's really top speed.
That's the fastest we've seen so far in these in-cars. And what beautiful in-cars we're getting. Thank you, Greenlight, for this great coverage.
I know, this is really, you really get an insight as we go on board live like this.
And, you know, this is great conditions right now. Great temperature outside, but for the weight and the horsepower of these cars, for these Pirelli tires to be able to hang on through such G-forces really shows how well these tires are constructed.
Watch out for Dyson. He's coming into Horseshoe now, and he's caught up with Dreese. There you see them. They're literally line astern at the moment for third and fourth place. There we go. You can see it for yourself now. Dyson trying to make an attack on Tommy Dreese for third place. Through NASCAR they go.
And from now on, there really isn't a great passing zone until Oak Tree.
Yeah, that's the hard part. You do all the hard work in the first part of the circuit, and then you have to stay there. There's just no other way. You can't really overtake through here.
Which makes it really fun, especially in a mixed group race like this, because you sometimes have to take unnecessary chances to get past the slower traffic through those S's. And look at that beautiful shot right there. No, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a park. This is a racetrack.
I mean, it really is as though somebody designed the ultimate. I mean, it looks like an E-race, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's the real thing. That's how beautiful Virginia International Raceway is. But it's not so beautiful at the moment for Tommy Dreese, because he's under massive pressure at the moment from the Mustang.
Yeah, we've got lap traffic here in this straightaway, so we're going to see if everybody can get through until the roller coaster, because they can get stuck a long time past there.
And you can see how long this back straight is. It's got a kink in it too, but now both of them going through, nicely done. They've got more traffic as they head into roller coaster, and
so
they're going to have to wait.
Lee Saunders right there in the middle. He's in a TA sandwich with Adrian Lostowski, fighting for second place in this race and second place in points. So
maybe he'll get a tow from the TA boys.
They're in their own race right there.
So out of hog pen they come. Two distinct races, 15 laps to go. And I just saw that flag that you saw was the faster car approaching flag, and very important to wave that when the TA cars are coming. And the slower cars know that that's the case, because you're in your own race, of course. Now, come on, Dyson. Oh, he was so close there, and he almost had to go around the outside of Dreese.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it stick. And here comes Ernie Francis Jr. on Boris Said.
This has got to be so frustrating for Dyson right here, because he did everything right. It just happened, you know, the chips just fell where he didn't want them to. And because of this lap traffic, he's just not getting a good run on Dreese. And I know he wants to be right there, right behind Boris again.
Well, the only thing playing into his hands is the fact that Ernie Francis Jr. and Boris are now actually swapping paint. And that's a good thing for Dyson, because if he can get past Dreese, he may still be in touch with the leaders.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, there's a lot on the line here. This is Boris's first race.
Yeah.
He's not racing tomorrow. He's just out here for the fun of it. And if you know Boris, he's having a blast just laughing in his helmet.
Well, his day job is he runs a BMW dealership in
the largest in California.
In California, yeah.
Yeah. And so he's out here just for the fun of it, friends of Pancho Weaver, and just loves racing, and he loves this style. He's racing a standard age 4-speed transmission, where all the others in this class are running a sequential gearbox. So he's racing it like an old school, almost a vintage car in the newest TA car.
Oh, and very wide goes Tommy Dreese, and that allows Dyson through, and Dyson doesn't say thank you. He just gets going and gets through, because that was a mistake by Dreese.
But Dreese or Dyson went off, and Dreese trying to get back on, trying to overcorrect in wet grass. That's
I'm
not
quite sure
good.
where he went off there.
He
It
went
was
off
at
at the top of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Probably looking in his mirror a little bit more than he should have, looking at Dyson.
Oh, now he's in
You can
trouble.
hear him
He's
yelling.
all over the shop.
You can hear him yelling, so something must be wrong. Maybe there's a mechanical. He just cannot get grip. Okay, there's a yellow flag out, local yellow marking it, that he's not coming in. That's where you would come in if he felt something mechanical. So maybe there's just dirt on the tires, and he's going around.
He's looking around.
We could actually hear him yelling.
I asked him this morning, I said, you are going to talk to us, aren't you? He goes, well, I don't want to be swearing. And he said, on your live feed. I said, well, you don't have to swear. He goes, yeah, but you don't. What if I make a mistake?
Oh, he's off there, too.
He's
Something
off.
is wrong. He's got something wrong. Looks like, I don't know if it's mud on the tires or a trailing arm or tire pressure, but something is definitely wrong. He should have come into the pits because this is a long way around this track, knowing that something's not right, being second in points.
So Tommy Dreesy, as high as third place early on, but got some problems now. He went off at the top of the roller coaster, and he's been off several times since, including at the horseshoe. Meanwhile, Ken Thwaites continues to plow through in XGT. Him and Joyner were in a big battle, but we haven't really seen whether the stewards have decided to...
Well, I think I saw on our app here that Ken did take the lead, and then Eric must have gotten back around him.
Okay. So it is Eric Joyner who leads in 10th position overall, but leading in XGT ahead of Ken Thwaites.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if you want to have a good time after this, tomorrow check out Ken Thwaites' social media channels because he actually puts the audio from his radio communications on there, and I'm sure tomorrow's going to be very entertaining.
I listened to that on Formula One. It's some of the most entertaining stuff of the lot. Well, here is the Porsche of Eric Joyner leading the way with 13 laps to go. A rather controversial overtake, I may add, and we'll see if the stewards do anything about it. Dorsey Schroeder, a man of great experience.
Yeah, Trans Am NASCAR legend Dorsey Schrader's just right underneath us right now making these decisions. But what a beautiful shots we're getting of this Tool Porsche of Eric Joyner from Manhattan Beach, California. Follow closely. There he is, Ken Thwaites right behind him.
He hasn't lost any ground, has he? He's caught right back up again. So we've got a good battle going on here with 12 to go. And the Porsche in a straight line just is electric.
Where is it?
Well, now that's a good question. I think he's got past. I think we missed that.
He went off. Yeah, there he is in the rearview mirror.
So Ken Thwaites got past Eric Joyner. Nicely done. And it was in a split second because 1 minute we were watching him behind, the next we were on board and he'd gone past.
And this is where Eric's going to want to
go.
Oh, there he goes off.
Oh, no. And look, you can see how much he accelerates onto the grass because it's so wet. He's got away with that. Okay. Luckily, that beautiful Porsche is not damaged, I don't think.
And he fire it back up. And that happens a lot at 10. I was talking to an instructor here yesterday that they try to overcorrect and they end up into the inside wall. I can't tell if he's under power yet, but look at that. There goes Ernie Francis Jr. right by Ken Thwaites on that back straight. Oh, and Tim Horrell, his race is over.
Now, Tim Horrell, just to explain, is a paraplegic, and he will get back out of the car, and they'll basically carry him away or get him. Yeah, they're getting him his stick. But a really valiant driver because he doesn't do it with his legs. He does it with his hands and arm power, very similar to Zanardi and a few others that have raced like that.
So it looks like he dropped some oil. Now, the body damage that you're seeing is actually from Road America, so I don't think he had any contact in this race. And he waved to the camera, so he's okay, but a little bit of oil. So that stinks for Breathless Racing, who is currently in the lead in the GT class and the TA class. So that could mix it up in the GT class.
And, of course, Tim Horrell racing for Breathless Racing, same team as Ernie Francis Jr. And just to keep you abreast of what's going on as we go through the order, really good racing throughout, but it is Ernie Francis Jr. who has got ahead of Boris Said, and that's the big story. Now you can see it from above. Ernie Francis Jr. some 2 car lengths ahead of Boris Said. Now they were close racing a moment ago, about a lap ago, and I thought he was going to make a challenge. He's done so, and now as we go on board with Chris Dyson, Dyson's got a chance to have a go at Said himself.
Look at how light they get right there. The cars almost become airborne, and then it compresses. So if your wheels are turned at all while you're almost airborne, when you compress, you really can feel it in the wheel.
And I'm wondering if Boris is tiring a little bit because Dyson's all over him right now.
I don't think Boris gets tired. He's like a Viking. I think, I think he's just kind of letting the race come to him. He doesn't want to do anything to spoil the points in the lead because he knows this is just kind of a one-off race for him. But look for him, knowing Pancho Weaver, look for him to be in the series regularly next year.
Well, as we've seen in a straight line, Dyson very quick, and as he dives into roller coaster again, he's caught right up to the back of Boris Said. The top three, nothing between them, but if anything, Ernie Francis Jr. is pulling away as they come down to the last corner here at VIR. I'll take a look out the window of my commentary booth and take a look at it for real, and yes, sure enough, Ernie Francis Jr. is building on that lead. But now the battle is on for Dyson. He's got 11 laps to do it, plenty of time. An hour-long sprint race, and they do it all again tomorrow. Joyner trying to get back on track, but
he's leaking something.
That was at turn 10, and
hopefully that was just water from the
hobbling
grass.
around, I think.
Yeah.
He got it going again. Well, you saw yourself. He didn't damage the car as he hit the back of the barriers
A little
there.
bit, but not bad. There shouldn't be any mechanical damage in that.
Meanwhile, Ken Thwaites is off into the sunset, so to speak.
Yeah, he's a lap ahead now because we watched Ken pass him.
And just to remind you where we stand, at the moment, Ernie Francis Jr. leads in TA. You're looking at the leader of XGT at the moment, Ken Thwaites. In SGT, Lee Saunders also leading the way. And there is Lee Saunders, the number 84 Dodge Viper, leading the way at the moment in SGT. It's been a good season for the man from Florida. Loves his racing. He's had quite a few pole positions. Certainly at Road America, he put that Dodge Viper to good use. V10, lots of grunt.
Look at how close we are to Boris.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Dyson is not going to lie down without at least a try at overtaking, because, you know, you've got, if you're a smart driver, you know that even though you've got quite some distance between yourself and the man leading the race at the moment, Ernie Francis Jr., only needs one yellow flag. So you want to get past just as exactly as Dreesy is doing on one of the back markers.
Yeah, Richard Grant right there. Dreesy's coming up.
Seen all his movies.
Yeah, but I didn't see any grass in there. I didn't see if he came into the pits. But knowing Dyson and his team, Dyson is very calculated. He's a very patient, calculated driver, so his team might be telling him to stay behind Boris, and we're going to try to time some lap traffic. He's going to watch Boris to see where he's faster and where he's going to be able to pass, and he's got a few laps to do that. We've got 9 laps to go in this great race.
Well, my only assumption, given that the speed that Dreesy's doing right now, is that those mistakes were just that. There doesn't seem to be anything mechanically wrong with the car, unless it's righted itself. He just had a series of problems there. But now it seems to have righted itself.
Yep, I think that means it must have just been mud on the tires.
May well have been, yeah.
Burton Racing has not come up with a self-healing car yet.
Well, the therapy is with Dyson at the moment because he wants past Boris Said, and that's the only therapy he can think of right now. As they bob and weave at the back of the circuit down towards turn 10 again.
You can really see the undulation and the elevation changes in this track from this onboard. And if that's Eric Joyner, I can't really tell, but they might meet lap traffic at the top of roller coaster, which is not great.
And again, watch the top speed of Dyson. And again, he hits that 185, 86 mark. Well done. Really, really well
and then
prepared
hard
car.
on the brakes. Look at that.
He's not short on horsepower, that's for sure. The Dodge Challenger under big pressure now, and there's traffic ahead.
Look at Boris just using every
Bouncing
bit
over
of
the
that
curves,
track. Really, really fun to watch Boris drive, and he just has so much fun. He walks around the paddock, and you know, I don't know how old Boris is, but if I were to guess, I'd say between 15 and 16, based on his personality.
Yeah, about the same age as his son, yeah? Mm-hmm. They get on well, so yeah, I think you're about right. Yeah, I don't know how many times Boris has retired, but he keeps on coming back. He's like a bad penny.
Now, he told me he cannot stay away from this, and he loves these cars that Pancho Weaver builds, has so much fun racing them, and just has a blast throughout the weekend.
Now, look how far Ernie is ahead. You can see the orange and black just going to the right-hander there, and then past the resort.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're not allowed to have spectators this weekend, but if you have the chance to come to VIR, it is a do-not-miss opportunity, a track. We will be back here next year.
Rent an RV and head out and stay here.
Look at that. It looks like a golf course. Looks like we're at the Masters
And you can see they've got several different courses as well. This is what we call the full course. And Eric Joyner just passing our commentary position again, just having gone through the pits, is going back out. There's your leader, the number 98, the Breathless Racing. Ernie Francis Jr. of Florida, leading the way, a 6-time champion in our championship. And Lostowski in the Mustang, or in the Shelby Cobra, I should say, going past.
That's a beautiful car.
It is a beautiful car.
You know, you need to look at that car up close because it looks like a Concours winning show car. He always does such a great job preparing that car. His Fast Auto team, his teammate Doug Winston is going to be in the next race in TA2. But look at that, he's gone off. The front end of that reveals to me that he's gone off, really trying to fight with Lee Saunders.
Yeah, there's no question. A lot of grass in the grill there, but beautifully prepared, as you mentioned. Now the leader's weaving through the back markers now.
We do have a full paddock. Obviously, everybody was ready to go racing again because we have a record number in our vintage class with SVRA and in Trans Am here and in International GT. The Speed Tour is as for everything that's happened this year, we're doing well. We've got a great remaining schedule, and Tony and John have done a great job making sure we get back on track.
Yeah, and if you've tuned in just for TA or just for Trans Am, stay tuned because this app and this live stream will give you all the SVRA too, and me and Ben will be walking you through that and taking a look at some of the classic cars. Who's that? There's 2 cars off there. I hope that's not Ken Thwaites.
Oh, no, it's Matthew Butson.
Matthew Butson, the man you mentioned.
Into the tire wall, yeah. 19 years old from Seattle, Washington. A really great driver. I'm hoping right now it looks like everything is okay.
That is, that is.
That's at NASCAR, and that's with Masood. So I hope that looks, when you have 2 cars go off like that, that means there was probably contact right there at the NASCAR turn, right in front of where most people are watching. And then there's Kerry Hitt. Oh, no. Kerry Hitt in the pits. Looks like engine problem.
Yeah, they're taking a look.
Oh, Tommy Dreesy.
So there might have been some oil down there.
There's got to be something down there. And I hope that they're showing the debris flag there.
So 3 cars off at NASCAR corner, which is the second corner here, just behind us here in the commentary booth. And as I look back, I can see the car park that is now starting to fill up.
And you can see Butson there over the wall. So 2 cars off usually means contact. 3 cars off means debris or oil or something on the track.
Well, the flag marshal's got a double yellow, but not a debris flag.
Oh, no. Double yellow with 7 laps to go with this crazy lead. Is it double yellow? I can't see any flags.
There's a double yellow certainly at the local at NASCAR, but whether it's a full course double yellow, I'm not sure yet. Well, this could change everything. Chris Dyson continues to plow on, and it is a double yellow. Ben Sissel leaning out, creening out of the window here in the crow's nest to just make sure we got this down. But it's going to be a 5-lap, 4-lap sprint now. And Boris said now under real pressure.
Man, is this fun or what?
I know. This is great.
We have the best job. We're up here in 3rd story in this little crow's nest, just getting to watch fantastic images of some of the coolest racing in the world.
Fantastic coverage as well. Hats off to our cameraman. They haven't missed a trick today. No question about it. And we've managed to hit everything and hit their marks and make sure we didn't miss anything for you. Very, very good stuff. And delighted for Chris Dyson because he's going to have one more go at this.
Yeah. And let me add to some drama here. The safety car came out there, so it's Ernie Francis Jr., and then there's, I can't tell which car that is.
Oh, that's one of the GT or SGT cars.
And they're not going to move the field around. So those 2 cars right there, Boris and Chris Dyson, are going to have to figure out a way at the start to get around that car. Shouldn't be that much trouble.
Yeah, but their acceleration down the front straight should be enough.
It's still one more thing to get around.
Yeah, true. So live pictures high above Virginia International Raceway. We're on the border of Virginia and North Carolina in this absolutely glorious setting. They've been racing here since the late 50s, on and off. This has been a track that has brought some great glory and is with one of the most respected and loved tracks in the United States. No gravel traps here. You go off and you're on the grass, and we've had a lot of wet weather in the last 24 hours. And that has meant that it's pretty treacherous out there, as we've seen already.
Yeah, and look at that. That's Stephen Davison that's between Ernie Francis and Boris said. Stephen Davison was last year's GT winner, And actually, the great thing about Stephen Davison, he did over 10,000 race miles in that Aston Martin last year. So he's got a lot of experience in this class, a lot of experience in these mixed groups. But to do 10,000 race miles, you know that you love racing, because that's not his day job. He has an actual day job also, but just loves being out here. And but he's second in class right now in the GT class, trying desperately to catch Billy Griffin, who's in that green Mustang.
Yeah, currently 18th overall, Billy. And so we're under caution here with just under 6 laps to go as they head down roller coaster here at VIR. The Maserati pace car leading them through. We've had a big off at NASCAR where 3 cars involved, including one of the TA leaders. That's Tommy Dreese, who will really miss out on the points if that's the case, because if he can't get going again, his second place to Ernie Francis Jr., the man you're looking at right now, will disappear, quite literally. They pass our commentary position now, under safety. And just looking out the window, it doesn't look as though, well, Tommy's car has gone, so whether they've pushed it out the way or he's got going again, I'm not sure. I'll keep an eye out for that. Either way, he's lost his position. The rest of the field filed through. Adrian Lostowski still going strong in the number 96 fast auto car. 5 laps to go now as they head through Horseshoe.
Look out the window, Jonathan. It's going to take a while to clean up the safety crew and the
so
recovery vehicles.
Do you think we'll get at least a couple of lap sprint?
Actually, yes, because yesterday in the drivers' meeting, Tony Perella announced that we will finish under green these races, if at all possible.
Well, we've had some kind of controversial finishes. If you've just tuned in for the series, we had a crash at Mid-Ohio. We had a crash at Road America. It was all going on, so we definitely want to finish under green this time for sure.
We got to give them safety. Got to make sure it's safe to do so.
This is on board with Tommy Dreese, so he's still circulating.
Yeah, you can hear him talking on the radio, I think. But look at the beautiful shots right there. They're coming around Mark Brumman. So obviously they are going to reposition the pack because Simon Gregg just passed Mark Brumman. So they're repositioning the cars back in order.
So Dreese is in the field, which is good news for everyone, including Tommy Dreese from Los Angeles, California.
So we saw them repositioning some of the cars. I'm not sure if they're going to make Stephen Davison go back there in that beautiful Aston Martin, but what a great mix of cars here at Virginia International Raceway. Great images. There's Lee Saunders, followed by Amy Ruman. John Bauckham, this is his home track in that yellow Mustang. And then there's our GT leader right there, Billy Griffin. So Stephen Davison's got a lot to work out if he's got to get past almost a complete lap around VIR to get next to the other GT first place.
We're going to have a 4-lap sprint by the looks of things. The lights on the safety car are off at the moment, so that means that they are leading them to a restart.
Ooh.
And that means we'll have a 4-lap sprint, which is just what we want. And it's then up to Ernie Francis Jr. to maintain his lead. See what Tommy Dreese can do in the time remaining, but 4 laps is a decent amount of laps.
I don't think they are, because all the safety cars are still in an unsafe position, so I doubt they're going to be able to go lights out here. But yeah, you're right, the lights are out.
Yeah, well, let's see. They're coming down now. We're coming down to the deciding factor. If he peels off, we'll soon know. No, he's staying out. And that means we're going to have another lap under safety, and they are still. Yeah, there's no way, because there's a truck on the car, there's a truck on the track, the ambulance is still on the track, so we're going to definitely have another lap.
So they must be having, because I did see the safety car's lights come on, so they must be having problems with the safety car lights, and what that means is when the safety car lights go out, but you're always supposed, when the lights go out like that, but the car stays on track, Ernie Francis did the right thing to follow the safety car around. If the lights were on and the safety car came into the pits, Ernie has to follow the safety car into the pits. So he's doing the right thing. They must be having just a malfunction with those lights. Beautiful car right there. And Maserati SUV.
And you know, it
Maserati
can catch
rally.
out the best of people. I was watching Formula One at Monza a couple of weeks ago, and even Lewis Hamilton made the mistake of not obeying the actual rules. The pit lane was closed, and you've really got to keep your attention under safety as to what the rules are and what's happening. But Ernie Francis Jr., he may be only 22, but he's been around for quite some time in
Yeah,
Trans
because
Am.
he's seen the pace car lights go out twice and then come back on, so he must be saying, what's going on here?
What's going on? Well, I'm glad to say you can see the clouds for yourself. I don't see too much rain in the offing, or at least they're not as nasty as they were. Now you can see the reparation going on, effectively, the emergency vehicle, and just at the distance behind that white vehicle you're looking at right now is the stricken car, one of them. Masoud's car is being left alone. The 21 is parked up, and I think he's out of harm's way, pretty much. But they're not really attending to that, but they do have to attend to the black Corvette, and they're trying to get that out of the way. So Ernie Francis Jr., we always talk about this situation. It looks as though it's a rather dull situation because they're going slow, but the truth is this is where the drivers are working harder than ever. Physically, they're having to weave the car from side to side to keep the temperature in the tires. They're going slow. These cars don't act well slowly. They don't grip well slowly. And the temperature also in the engines goes up. So does the temperature in your own body. So there's a lot going on for a driver. And in fact, it's probably the hardest part of any race.
Yeah, like we were talking early on in the race, it stinks to have to come in and sit for a while early on. But then when it's all coming to an end and you're in a great rhythm and you're right behind the leader, and then all of a sudden you have to go behind pace and really think about and strategize, how am I going to get past them? Because really, on a restart like this, on a single-file restart, your best bet is to really just get right behind them, draft into one, come out or in, and really try to cut turn one.
Interested to see how Dyson can challenge what Boris said.
They got the lights back on.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, isn't it? I mean, we're so used to watching safety car lights.
And they're off.
No, they're on, they're off.
They're having a disco in there.
So poor old Ernie, probably just as confused as everybody else.
Yeah.
But,
okay, so they're making them follow them
okay,
in.
they're doing another black flag situation. There you go. There's the black flag.
Yep.
So this has been a really topsy-turvy race for these drivers. And when Ernie finally steps out and does take the win, if he does, he's going to be
okay, so this
pleased.
is a black flag, and they're stopping the clock situation, meaning it's just unsafe for the safety workers to be out there and clean up these cars and the debris. So they're going to bring the cars in, they're going to stop the clock, and we will finish under green, ladies and gentlemen.
And like
Hopefully.
you say, this is really hard because now you've done almost an hour of racing. You're getting to the end of your concentration factor, and all the adrenaline now is releasing itself from the body as though it's the end of the race. And if you're a veteran racing driver, your body's going, great, that was a good race.
Yeah.
Now I go back to the motorhome, right?
Yeah.
No. So this is tough.
I'm surprised if they're bringing them in that they're not going to move some of these cars around. But you can see right there our man Tony up there on the tower, looks like, filming. And look at these great aerial shots coming down at VIR, the full paddock.
Well, that's our mini hero, Logan. We shrunk him down last night. We put him in a bottle and put him in the drone, and he is doing a great job of going up in that drone and filming for us. We'll bring him back to real size tonight for his steak.
They must be having trouble getting a car onto the hauler there.
Well, I think the problem is you just cannot. I mean, it's so wet offline that you certainly can't restart in this situation. And with three cars so close to the track, I'm presuming, unless, again, we have a problem with the tyre wall and they have to repair that before they can go racing again. That could be another situation, but I don't see anybody
there's Matthew
working on
Butson.
that.
Looks like he might be fighting to get it into gear, to get it into neutral so that they can pull it up.
Okay,
but that's
here it
the
goes.
Tony Ave car of Matthew Butson. Matthew had to come back out there over the wall to look like probably push it into neutral or do something with the steering. He's really struggling to get it into gear, or out of gear, I guess.
Gives us a chance to give our Greenlight TV logo a bit of a run on the live stream. So Virginia International Raceway, you can see cars all standing still in what has been a very strange race. This is kind of how we started the race. Just joined us, you're watching our first race for the VIR weekend, a doubleheader, TA, XGT, SGT and GT, and it'll be followed this afternoon with a TA2 racer, a bumper field in that one. Looking forward to that. Can everybody rewrite what was a horrific finish to the race at Road America when it all ended in tears and flames?
Yeah.
And everybody's been repairing and waiting for a chance to go racing again in TA2. And then tomorrow, we'll have the lot out. We'll have everybody out. We'll have all 4 classes that you're looking at now, as well as a full field of TA2. And that is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since 2015.
Yeah.
And that wasn't as many cars.
Wasn't that was that Indianapolis?
No, that was here, and it was in
Okay.
it was in really tough rain. But I just want to say we're having a blast up here calling this race. Such a beautiful place. But if you're watching online, social media, on the app, leave a comment. Where are you watching from? Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you want to see us do in the next races? Because we're going to be out here in just an hour racing with TA2 or tomorrow. So let us know what you want to see.
Also, just give us a sort of smorgasbord of SVRA, because people tuning in to watch Trans Am, there's a full SVRA field as well. And I say a full, I mean it's like bumper, isn't it?
Yeah, we have over 200 vintage race cars out here representing 70 years of motorsports. And we'll be streaming on the SVRA app and all the SVRA social media channels and any of the Speed Tour conglomerates. And it's so much fun to be here. We've been here with Trans Am now for, I think, since 2013, and it's been really fun to watch. But we have, like in our group 1, 3, 4, 5, which is the small bore production cars, my favorite. I think we have about 50 cars in that group. A great contingency of the historic Miatas, so just anything you want. Travis Engen is out here in his Audi R8 LMP car. So it's this weekend, if you like motorsports, we've got something for you. It's going to be fantastic. And Jonathan and I are going to be up here calling the vintage races immediately following the TA2 race today.
Well, just to give you an update, they've gone to Plan B now. They couldn't get up on the trailer, so now they're going to try and tow it out the way. Meanwhile, poor old Chris Dyson's sitting there sweating a lot, going through his system checks. But this is not a fun time for a racing driver.
And I just got...
See, look, the truck's gone, and now they're going to try and tow it now.
I just got word. So we were watching, and we watched Tommy Dreese and Simon Gregg passing, trying to get past the cars, because sometimes that's what Trans Am does. But in the drivers' meeting, they said that we aren't doing that. We're not putting people back in position. So now they're going to have to give their positions back when we go to the restart. So Simon Gregg and Tommy Dreese, who are used to doing that, but the last couple of races we haven't been doing that, so now they're going to have to give those positions back.
Here comes truck number 2. So, yeah. That's a real shame for Tommy, because he thought he could get back in position. But as you say, car number 8 and car number 59 will start at the back of this pack. Meanwhile, they're oblivious to this. They can't see what's going on. And I'm sure they're on the radio to their spotters getting the updates. But normal service hopefully resumed in the not too distant future. And I wonder if we'll have, I think we might just have one more surprise up their sleeves, because somebody's going to make a move. 4 classes, remember. And in fact, I can see them moving Tommy Dreese's car right now out of the line that he picked up a couple of places. So they'll probably move him to the right and have him start at the back. There's Dyson's car. Winner last time out at Road America. Really good job he put in there. 33, that's Joe Mulholland of St. Pete.
And he's with Breathless Racing.
Yes. I was amazed at the size of the Breathless garage this weekend. It's huge.
Yeah, Ernie Francis Sr.'s done a really good job. So he's got 2 cars that are racing in the Group 10 with SVRA, and then he's got 3 cars that are racing with us here in Trans Am. And then Tim Harrell has been doing International GT as well. So it's, you know, if you come out to one of these events as a race car driver, if you run a Trans Am or an International GT or SVRA, there's drivers kind of going in and out. So John Cloud is racing with us in Vintage and in TA2. So Eric Joyner and Ken Twaits are running sometimes International GT and Trans Am. So there's lots of track time at these events.
saw Milton Grant there, and we're looking a little further back down, and here is Ken Thwaites' car, the Audi. Franklin Road Audi, as we...
I'd love to hear his radio.
We got a shot of Tony now doing his job from Ken's view.
Who Ken is game face Ken Thwaites right there. I think he may still be steaming about what was happening. Yes. I'm sure his team and Brad and everybody's talking to him. That was a strange situation, wasn't it? It was, yeah. And I think it was just, you know, Eric was trying to pass a car, you know, his eyes were on the car. Ken obviously was looking ahead and saw the car that had spun. So, you know, I think Eric just missed the yellow flag. And when you come into a passing situation like that, you're just looking at the car. There's our current leader right there, Lee Saunders. But look at that grass.
Yeah,
that could hurt him. I can't hear right now if his engine is running. I'm doubting that his engine is running. But this is one of the most frustrating things. His crew has told him that he's got grass on the front. But they're not allowed to go brush it off.
Right, but could he get out and do it?
He can't. He cannot get out of the car unless they tell him to.
Well, when you say they tell him to?
The track officials. We've got some great officials down there. Rudy Avalon is kind of leading the track officials down there on the left. You just saw Bart right there on the left. And sometimes they'll go down there and brush it off for them, the crew and the track officials. But looks like right now they're not going to do that.
So a beautiful shot from high above VIR, just waiting to be pounced on, as you can see. Beautiful sight. And we await too. If you've just joined us, we're in the middle, or almost the end, of our first TA, XGT, SGT, and GT race. Jonathan Green and Ben Sissel bringing you the action from VIR of the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. And we are midway through our 2020 season. And hats off just for the fact that we've gone racing this year. We had an E-Championship in March, which was a huge success. And our big thanks to all the gamers that joined us and all the drivers that came and took part in that. We had over 30 drivers in a lot of the races. And there's the car number 2 of Mr. Bailey parked up. He was out early, but it's such a long way to the pit lane. He's just going to wait, I think.
I'm surprised that they're not telling him now to get over the wall. You know, at this point, he doesn't really need to wait in the car.
No.
He could probably go over and it stinks because we did cover in driver's meeting that if they could just pull into that south paddock right there, that pit lane, that would be a safe place to stop.
So has he got to stay with his car just because of the rules? Or
well, usually if the track is hot, but right now this would be considered kind of a cold track, so the corner worker might be telling him there at turn 12 that he could go over the wall, but obviously he hasn't yet.
All right, well, I'm going to take a quick look. I'm glad to say that the car that was at NASCAR turn 2 has been taken away now, finally. So we should be underway fairly soon. It's the 59 of Simon Gregg.
Now let me ask you this, Jonathan, because if you know Ernie Francis Jr. running up front in the points, running up front currently in this race, every decision that he makes on a racetrack is for the championship.
Yep.
So if Boris gets a great restart, will he just let Boris by and take second place for the championship, or will he race Boris?
I think he'll take second place.
I think he will too, and I think that's the right decision. Yeah, that's the right decision. And Boris is going to race him really hard, but race him clean. But Boris wants to win this race.
I mean, he'll give it a go. He'll put on a show. That I can assure you. But he won't risk the car and a championship for the sake of beating Boris Said. His ego, even at 22, is so mature that he doesn't need the scalp of Boris Said of an odd weekend.
I've never known Ernie to have an ego. He's one of the most
amazing.
Humble people.
Amazingly humble.
I know. Like we were just at Brainerd a couple weeks ago. He broke halfway through the race. I texted him, hey, you want to come up here and commentate with us? So he came up and commentated. Usually drivers are pretty bummed out when that happens, but you know, he wanted to come up and mention his sponsors one more time and tell us what happened. It was great.
And also what I really appreciate about Ernie, the more I've got to know him, is the fact that he's a real paddock guy. In other words, when he sees somebody else in trouble, he'll go down and say, hey, man, you know, are you okay for parts? What do you need? What have you done? And if they've got something to help, they'll help. And it goes, what comes around goes around. And he's just that kind of guy. And that's the whole Trans Am paddock.
Well, there is a shot right there from Oak Tree, just to the left over here. The reason it's called Oak Tree and the reason that VIR's logo is an oak tree, there was a really old oak tree from basically the Civil War days. And I think somewhere around 2012, 2013, it was either struck by lightning or it fell down. It was a great symbol. You had
Ruman had it. You were
to,
doing a drive school and you went straight into it and cut it down.
Maybe. But you had to actually drive through it or under the branches. It was really, really fun to watch. And then it laid, what are they, acorns, right?
Yeah.
On the track sometimes. So sometimes you had some acorn marbles to go through. And then what's great is just off of there, if we could get that camera person, I wish we could talk to him and tell him to pan left. Between the bleachers is what they're calling son of oak tree, planted from the seed of the old oak tree, and they're growing another oak tree right there at that turn. Not on the inside of the turn, though, because they wouldn't allow that for safety.
Modern dashes, for sure. Look at that. From Dyson, you can see. He's got it in first gear. He's looking at the temperature of the engine and the water temperature. So he's getting a constant readout, same as being fed back to his team on the pit wall. But he's able, especially this time.
That's definitely, if we're in 8th place, man, that's it. Bernie's the lead
So Tommy
right now.
Dreese, you can see that Tommy Dreese and Simon Gregg have both been pulled over to the right. And what they're going to do is they're going to let the cars that they passed go by them and then put them in position. So right now the team down there, the Trans Am staff, are going to, they know exactly where to put Simon, exactly where to put Tommy. They're going to do hopefully one lap around, lights out, and then we're going to go to the finish of this race.
Good, man. I did the same thing.
Yeah, it'll basically be a 2-lap
I
sprint,
don't know
won't
if
it?
it felt like oil or it felt like a bunch of, I can't tell you.
You can hear him talking on the
It felt like
radio,
on marbles.
and he seems
Like,
pretty
whoa.
calm.
Just all 4 tires. Just.
There's not a lot that
got pulled
phases
from
Tommy,
under
to
me.
be fair.
All right, well, keep an eye on your battery voltage. If it gets too low, just turn everything off.
30 volts, 12. I'm turning
Now,
this
we
stuff
might
off,
be
okay?
my assumption that would only be a couple of laps might be wrong there because, of course, they stopped the clock.
Yep.
So
yeah, there
we
were
might
3
actually
laps
have
left, so we might have a green-white checker, or we might have one. I just heard Tommy's crew chief. For some reason, I'm getting his interference, but was saying to watch your voltmeter, that they may be having some voltage problems.
Are those the volts they're putting through, Tommy, just to make him go faster? Or
Maybe the shock treatment. And there's Ken Twaits talking on the radio. You can see him pushing the radio button on his steering wheel. That is a beautiful car, and he actually hung out after turn 5, hit the wall somewhere between 5 and 6 on the driver's left, and came in. It was just cosmetic damage, but with the aerodynamics of those cars, he basically has a B car, which is a white car, so that's why his car is black and white this weekend, because he had to pull parts off of that car. You can see the dash there. Great shot from Tony.
well, you can see the big 1 in the middle is his first gear. Around the circle round gives him his revs, so when he's actually in motion. But the dials around the side will give you the other bits of information that you can read right now. One, of course, is water temperature. The other is engine temperature and oil temperature, and those are all the bits you see on the outside, or the dials you see on the outside, and then you can see in the middle is the big 1, and the rev limiter is just around the outside. So pretty much everything you need there. There's not a lot of time during the race to read that, but you'll soon see if something goes wrong, that's for sure. And one of those temperature lights could come on, or at least go red, and warn the driver early. And the one thing that you do want to do in these big cars is if you do get a warning light for an engine temperature, you want to shut it down ASAP, because you do not want to blow an engine in one of these. Great stuff from Tony there. Thank you.
So if I'm reading the situation right, they've towed the 2 cars in, but they only have 2 tow vehicles here, or 2 tow vehicle operators. So Masoud's car is just sitting there at NASCAR, probably waiting to get towed in. So they need to drop off the car, go get it, come in. But it doesn't look like they're repairing any of the wall, because all the other safety cars are in. So we should be up and running here pretty soon.
So we're on board with Amy Ruman right now. She too has a fantastic history. Former champion in Trans Am.
2-time champion.
Yep.
And she hasn't had good luck recently here at VIR. Something about VIR maybe, and I read a press release from her on her social media. You need to follow all of our drivers on social media, because they do a really good job of keeping everybody informed. But also, they do a really good job of keeping things very real, and they'll tell you just like it is. And, you know, she's really hoping for a good finish here. And right now she's in pretty good position.
There's Larry Bailey just checking over his Corvette. He, in the SGT class, in the 02 car, was out early and just parked it up out of harm's way. But since then, he's been struck down effectively because he couldn't really move. He supposedly could get out of the way, I suppose, and poodle off across the other side of the circuit, but he doesn't want to leave the car, and I understand why. He's a long way from the pits, too.
Yeah.
There's one of our classic Marshall posts, flag posts. They've even got pagodas and everything. It's all modern stuff. You could have your barbecue out there.
Yeah.
So if you've just joined us, we are currently in our first race of the weekend. SCCA Pro Racing from Trans Am, presented by Pirelli, Ben Sissel and Jonathan Green, bringing you the action when it happens again. We've had some great action already, but we started off the day with a black flag when Hinkle went off at 6, and sadly, Jeff Hinkle took some of the wall with him. That brought out the first black flags. We stopped everything. Then we got racing again, and we were racing for a while, and then we had another incident at turn 2. That brought out another black flag. But as you can hear, the engines are roaring back into action, and we will be racing again. But it will be a very short sprint of a couple of laps or so. I'll give you the full indication on that as soon as we get it. But all eyes will be on this man, number 20, who lines up in 3rd position.
So this is the only time that the officials let the crew and the mechanics come out, and that is basically to a lot of these cars have a really long first gear, so they're going to push start them if they just need it. If they just need a little bit of a boost. So you see the Breathless team out there with Joe Mulholland. Tony had a great shot of that coming up on Dyson's car. And some of the crews are just out there just to make sure that they can restart, and that is allowed by the Trans Am officials.
And will we still presume that the SGT car that is between Dyson and...
It will stay there.
It'll stay there, okay.
Yeah, because that's why Tommy and Simon are right in front of us right here waiting.
So, the marshals doing their job of making sure everybody's in order, but I can tell you that the Maserati SUV...
Actually, no, they're
Pace
moving
car?
it. They're putting them in order. So you can see it's Ernie, Boris, Dyson. So they must, I can't see out the window.
Okay, so they have put, yeah, okay,
so
so
they're
they
putting
are.
them back in order.
All right, but we still believe that Dreesy will be at the back, right?
I don't know. We're hoping to see. Right now, Dyson came up to next to Boris, and I think he's just raised his hand like, what's going on? Chris Dyson, one of the most likable people in the paddock.
Yeah.
He's great friends with Boris. They're probably just laughing.
So they're holding Dreesy for now, and as you can see, everybody filing by, and the reason being that they decided that they would put them at the back because they did try to make their way through. Now they'll let him out.
I actually just saw Kelly Huxtable out there directing traffic. She is our great registrar. She's everybody on Trans Am's favorite person they talk to on the phone, but now she's out there directing traffic too.
Good deal.
Kelly Huxtable can do it all.
Dreesy still stopped at the exit of pit lane there. There's Masood's car that got stuck. You can see it in the tyre wall there, but he's out of harm's way, but you can see how muddy it is, quite literally, from where all the trucks have had to go there to pick up the cars that went off. Fantastic shots from above, giving you a real indication. That's the 3rd corner on the track, left hook, before it opens up through Snake and up the hill.
Look at how slow that safety car is going.
I know.
Because they're just trying to make sure everybody's getting back in order. They want to make sure that this is a really good restart. Haven't gotten word yet how many laps we have left.
But this is really hard for the drivers because they want to be up to temperature ASAP, and right now...
Yeah, and they'd like to be scrubbing their tires a little bit because it is single file. So you can see
Ernie, yeah.
Ernie's going to he's trying to light up the back tires just a little bit. Now Boris is going left to right to scrub, and he's really hoping that the safety car speeds up. But she's doing what she's told to do. And right now she's been told to go slowly to let all the cars catch up to make sure that we're in the correct order.
This will be frustrating, I think, for the drivers because they're not used to being this slow out of the pits and getting ready to go restart.
And it is really difficult to drive a TA car slowly because the gearing is set for, you know, like we saw, 186 miles an hour, not for 21.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're going to have 3 laps left, ladies and gentlemen. Just got word from race control. 3 laps left in this race, and we're expecting to see the pace car come in this lap. But, oh, is that Joe Mulholland off there?
It is Joe Mulholland in the 33 Breathless car, currently 14th, but obviously not going to be there for long because he's parked out. It looks as though we're going to have a 3-lap sprint race. That's what we're looking at. And that is good news. Not for Mulholland, though.
No, he's off at turn 1. So
well,
he's
off
off
get far, then.
Yeah, he's off at the first bend there on the
Man,
inside of the exit.
That could affect things again.
I think he's in a safe place. I think they're going to be able to restart there. They're going to probably have to do a local yellow first lap, but then after that, he should be fine.
Yeah, no question about it.
Look, they're still going slow, though. There, you got lights on the pace car. Now they're going at a pretty good clip. Not fast enough to put any kind of temperature in those tires.
No, that's what's worrying, I'm sure, for the leading pack is that they've got these almightily powerful cars and they're not able to get them up to temperature at the moment. But that's because, for another reason, we want the whole pack to be there.
Not only do we have a great race in TA, but 1, 2, 3 and SGT. Really look for Mark Brummond in that green BMW to really try to make a move here. He probably doesn't have the power to get Lostowski and that V10 Viper into one, but then in the twisty bits, he definitely has an advantage.
So it looks as though we're going to have a green-white checker, which basically means we'll go to green. The next lap will be the penultimate lap, and then it'll be the checkered flag. White flag, of course, tells you there is 1 lap to go.
Amy Ruman 1 position away from podium right here. John Bauckham, 5th place. Nice job, John Bauckham, in his home track. Always a great racer here. Was it last year or 2 years ago, he celebrated his 100th start in Trans Am. Pace car's in.
Here we go. Ernie Francis Jr. will lead them away for what we believe is a 2-lap, 3-lap sprint. Dyson's got it all to do now at the restart. We're on board with Chris Dyson. Boris said got away well, and he's chasing Ernie Francis down. Good restart from Amy Ruman too. John Bauckham's up there. Where is Tommy Dreesy, we wonder, but right at the back at the moment. But it is going to be, at the moment, Ernie Francis Jr. But here comes Said. 2 laps to go. It's going to be the white flag as they come round next time.
Dyson looks faster than Boris said right there.
Yeah, he does. There's the Lucas Mist of the number 8. Tommy Dreesy trying to make up some time here, man. 2nd in the championship at the moment. He needs to get through traffic with just 2 laps to go. It's all or nothing now for Tommy Dreesy.
Currently
under the bridge
7th.
he comes. He's got Bauckham by the looks of things. Yes, 1 done already.
Now in 6th place.
Great to be on board with Tommy as he fights his way through here at VIR. Back with the leader, Ernie Francis Jr. Now, the plaid car of Chris Dyson in 3rd place is all over the back of Boris Said as they get onto the straight, and that was a mistake by Said. And this is a great opportunity for Dyson.
Dyson looks faster right now, in and out of corners, but Boris Said can make that car very wide.
He's up to 5th gear now, and he's seen him up to 185 before now. Let's see if he can get him before the roller coaster, because that will be all important before they go to the last lap. It's going to be a real dramatic finish to this one. Ernie Francis Jr. is in control, but can Chris Dyson get into 2nd place? Dyson, who won the last round at Road America. Boris Said just making a one-off appearance for Poncho Weaver. Down through the roller coaster they come. Tommy Dreesy's made up 1 place. He's going to try and make another one on the main straight. Here comes Dreesy. He's tucked in behind the number 59 and he's going for it. We're on board with Dreesy now. Can he get into the horseshoe ahead of the number 59?
No, Simon did a great job of holding Dreesy back. Dreesy had a run on Simon, but Simon held his line and kept Dreesy from being able to pass on the straightaway.
This is the final lap. They come into where Dreesy went off last time, but here comes Chris Dyson, side by side on the outside, and he gets his nose cut off by Boris Said. And there's not many other chances now for Dyson, but he's not going to give up for sure. Ernie Francis Jr. is on his way to victory here. They had to wait for the drama, but we're getting it now. Back with Dreesy, under the bridge he comes. This the final lap, 4 TA, 4 XGT, SGT and GT. Tommy Dreesy trying everything to get past and get as many points as he can for TA. And now on the back straight, it's one more chance now for Chris Dyson, but away goes Said. Dyson's got to do it before the roller coaster or it's over. We're on board with Chris Dyson as he goes down the back straight.
He's
for
faster.
the last time. He's definitely faster than Said. He goes to the outside. Can he get through? Oh, he tried.
That was a great attempt.
Somehow Boris has held on and he's not going to overtake him through here. It's going to need a mistake now. Just one more corner to go, and here comes the breathless car of Ernie Francis Jr. to take another victory here at VIR. Ernie does it. Boris Said is second, and Chris Dyson is third. Well, we had to wait a long time for the finish of that one, but it was well worth it.
That's the Breathless team celebrating right there. Ernie Francis's family, basically.
Yeah,
great
basically,
team.
yeah. Big entry from the Breathless team this weekend, but it's high fives and hand bumps across the board.
So here's XGT.
XGT, Ken Thwaites, about to finish his race as he comes down roller coaster. Got a crack to the windshield there from an incident earlier, but he comes out of the last corner and will cross the line now and win in the Audi ahead of
Eric Joyner.
Eric Joyner in second place and Drummond in third. And I think Lee Saunders is going to take victory in the XGT class, in the SGT class, excuse me. He does so in the Viper in 10th position overall.
Well, Jonathan, that was a great race. I need to run down to the podium to do the winner circle celebration. I'll see you back up here in just a few minutes with TA2.
All right, sounds good to me. My thanks to Ben Sissel. But an enthralling race. We had to wait for it a little bit, but it came to us in the end. And congratulations for a very patient Ernie Francis Jr. And well done to Ken Thwaites. Another victory. That's his fourth of the season now. He won at Mid-Ohio, Brainerd, Road America, and now here at VIR. And the affable man that came back to racing after almost a decade of sabbatical, Ken Thwaites, is back up to his race. In fact, I think he would argue that he's racing better now than he's ever raced. He's certainly rejuvenated. He's got a fantastic package under him and a good team around him. And now it's paying dividends. I think he would like to see more competition in the years ahead because it's been a small field up against him in XGT this year, but it bodes well because there's a lot of championships out there that will be looking at this live feed thinking, right, this is a fun, affordable way to go racing, and I'm sure Ken would welcome the competition, but well done to him and well done to Chris Dyson. Try as he might, he put on a great show, just couldn't make it past Boris Said. He was definitely faster in a straight line than the Dodge Challenger, but this time the Mustang will have to settle for a podium, while as the other Mustang, that of this man, number 98, Ernie Francis Jr., takes victory. Another stunning season from the youngster from Florida. And I think it's when you take a victory like this, where there's been so much distraction. We call it a 1 hour sprint race, but it was almost 2 hours stop, go. And so, well done to the patience of Ernie Francis Jr. And in a moment, Ben Sissel will get a chance to talk to them. Be interested to hear what they have to say, for sure. And just to confirm then, the result. Your top three, Ernie Francis Jr., this man here, Boris Said in second place, Chris Dyson in third, and Amy Ruman doing a really good job there at the end to get into fourth place ahead of Simon Gregg. Tommy Dreesy Got away with 6th place having gone off at turn 3, so he got lucky in some ways. Got ahead of John Bokum on the last run of 2 laps, and Bokum takes 7th place ahead of McManus. Ryan McManus in 8th position, Richard Grant in 9th, and then the first of the SGT cars, and that is Lee Saunders. There you go. Ernie Francis Jr. waves to the crowd. Little there is. But
so you got to be pretty happy.
we'll take the adoration.
About
And Ben's already down there.
Crazy race, and then knowing that you've got Boris and Chris Dyson right behind you. Oh wait, we're told. You've got these guys right behind you. Come here, Ernie. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was a really great race out there. We knew we had a car to win it. We just knew we had to keep it safe because we have a doubleheader race coming up tomorrow. We wanted to keep the car in one piece, and that's exactly what we did. Got really good points, and you just had to wait for our opportunity to get past. Both times we made a move. It happened to be in traffic, and that's what we had to do and took it home.
It's so rare to see you just sitting back in 3rd place, and then knowing that all this restart, all the start and stopping in that race, knowing that you had Boris Said behind you, that had to be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit frustrating. Wish they would have just let us run the laps out and finish the race like that, knowing we had another race tomorrow, not risking running the cars again for a last lap shootout like that. But it worked out in the end, got our win, and nothing stopping us right now.
Nice. Ernie Francis Jr. wins at Virginia International Raceway, currently 1st in points, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go try to get, well, let's talk to Chris Dyson. Chris Dyson, we're going to talk to you real quick. Watching that green-white checkered, it seemed like you were faster and more equipped than Boris, but you just couldn't get around him. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard place to pass, and you know, I thought we had a good car to win today, and that BMW, the camouflage shed out there, I think screwed it for us. We got stuck behind that guy, and then Orny got by me, and then Tommy got by me, and that held us back. And I think honestly, like at that point, it was follow the leader, which is how it is here. I mean, I think we're starting 3rd for tomorrow, so we've got a good shot. I'm disappointed because I think we have a good fast car, but I'm excited we get a race tomorrow.
You're starting 2nd tomorrow because Boris doesn't count as a qualifying, so you're going to be starting 2nd according to the rules that I understand them.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good race. I mean, it's action-packed out there. The VIR, I mean, this place is endless excitement, and I think we put on a pretty good show out there. Hopefully we can do it a little bit less red flags tomorrow.
Nice. Chris Dyson, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what happens with this mixed group racing like that. If you get stuck behind traffic at the wrong time, it can really cost you the race. We're going to come over here. Lee, where's Lee Saunders? Where is Lee? Oh, he's not out yet. But Adrian Lostowski, great race. 2nd in points. You finished 2nd in this race, correct? Tell us about your race at VIR.
Yeah, we had a good race. We took the lead at the last lap for like probably a couple seconds there, and I just couldn't hold it right at the end, so we did finish 2nd. Tomorrow's another day, and we're going to be looking for a win tomorrow.
Nice. I love it. Thank you very much. Where is Ken Twaits? Here's Ken Twaits. Let's come over and talk to Ken Twaits. Hey, Ken Twaits. Sorry. Crazy race. You and Eric had a little bit of contact again. Tell us about your race.
Well, I mean, I got a good start, and you know, then we got the full course yellow right after that. It's like, oh man, my advantage just slipped away. And Eric was coming hard. I was running as hard as I could. And then there's a waving yellow going into Oak Tree, and I thought, okay, cool. Well, you know, you can't pass me here. And next thing I know, he's dive bombing me inside, and we have contact, and that's a no-no. So.
And did you get back by him, and then did it get sorted out?
No.
No, it didn't? All right, well, man, thank you for the race, though. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot happening here, and our cameraman, Tony, fell down. Tony's okay, though. He gave me the thumbs up. Lee Saunders, winner in SGT. Lee, tell us about your race here at VIR.
Oh, man, it was a wild race. First, I want to thank Adrian and Mark. They both raced really clean with me today. It was super close. Of course, we knew the race restart was going to be crazy. Actually, Adrian got around me in Oak Tree, but we got a little draft and were able to take the lead back on the last lap, so real crazy. I want to thank my crew, Kevin Smith with KSR, Jamie Kwiatek, Lakeland Speed and Custom, Dylan Brickner. They had me a perfect car today. Car ran flawless, and we got a good setup, I think, for tomorrow, so it should be fun. But again, thanks to everybody for watching, and VIR is awesome. What can I say?
Nice. VIR is awesome. Let's go talk to Boris Said. You want to? Where is Boris Said? There he is. I see him. Boris Said, Poncho Weaver, Paul Menard, come in here, talk to us. So, you're giving your buddy Paul Menard a good car tomorrow, obviously. Poncho built this car, I think, less than a week ago. How's it feel?
I mean, for the first time out, this Weaver car is unbelievable. I mean, it got the pole, led a bunch of laps. You know, I made a mistake on a few things handling-wise, and you know, it's just something we didn't really get any dry running in practice. So now we know what to change, and I think it'll be a much better car tomorrow.
Nice. How in the world do you do it, Poncho?
Well, it's a team effort. There's a lot of guys behind this program. We've got great motor guys with the Penske group. We've got great gear guys with Mitch, you know, and I'll tell you, it's the fabricators at the shop. We're a part-time group. The guys work on the NASCAR teams, and at night they come and help me out, and I'm telling you what, it really makes a huge difference.
Nice. Well, there we are at Virginia International Raceway. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for TA2. But we're going to be back. We're going to do a podium celebration. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again here in a few minutes with TA2 at Virginia International Raceway.
So, great stuff from Ben Sissel there. Thank you so much. Ernie Francis Jr. confirmation that the One South Florida Wealth Advisors Ford Mustang wins here at VIR. Boris Said, the legend that is, and Weaver Racing Techniques SRI Dodge Challenger takes second place. Chris Dyson in the plaid Ford Mustang takes third. Amy Ruman is fourth. Simon Gregg fifth. Tommy Dreesy sixth. John Bokum in seventh place. Ryan McManus eighth. Richard Grant ninth. And Lee Saunders in 10th position. SGT, Adrian Lostowski. Brummond in 12th position, second in SGT, and Cary Grant third. XGT, as you heard, won by Ken Thwaites there, and the GT class goes to Billy Griffin with Stephen Davison in 17th position. Well, that finishes our Trans Am by Pirelli TA, XGT, SGT, and GT feature race. They'll be back in action tomorrow again, but stay with us on the live feed wherever you're tuning in around the world. We've got more great action from both Trans Am and SVR.